In Faces magazine in August of 1985, they asked you, what were you going to say or feel was going to be like the highlight? And you said, quote, playing the arenas, headlining the arenas, that's going to be the top of the ladder. That's when I look behind me and say, now what? So I guess the question is, now what?
That's my answer. What do we do now? It's hard to say. You know, where does the band go from here? All we know is that we take it one day at a time and one show at a time. And now it's, 3 shows in a city, 5 shows in a city. And it keeps going. It ends in the States in August, and it's back to, England for the Donington Festival. From there, Australia, Japan again, Anchorage, Hawaii, and then sleep like a big old bear. I'm going to hibernate, It's hard to say where we're going. We don't know.
Do you feel like you're at the top of the ladder?
No, I think every time you get there to the place where you think is the top, you find out that there's another extension on that ladder, So we're not satisfied, and we're not done, We're just hitting stride, I guess,
Last week, metal, quote-unquote, records were 5 of the top 6 albums in the country, including yours. And many say that you are the one who opened the floodgates to make this possible. Do you feel you are?
Well, that's hard to accept or to, really believe in too much. But a lot of people are saying that, and the press has picked that up. And I think basically because of the huge success of Slippery worldwide, as well as the idea that it was out before any of these other albums, Slippery was released in August of '86, so it's almost a year old. And it's been, thank God, in the, top 5 or whatever for so long, and then, so then they give us the credit for it, when in essence it just happened to be a good release, that seemed to click.
Dennis Hunt, I'm sure you know this, called you the Metal Messiah. What do you think of that?
Metal Messiah. I call my manager the Messiah of metal, or the guru to the gods, and we laugh at him because he took 2 bar bands, one from the East and one from the West Coast, and made them 2 of the biggest rock bands, in the world now, and in a matter of 4 or 5 years, So we just all, I think, laugh about it, and I think so does his other band. But I don't want to be Superman,
The other band being Motley Crue?
The Motley Crue's his other band, I think their album's at number 2 now, and so they're doing well. But I don't personally consider us, or myself, Superman. I don't want to be.
Do you think that in any way the PMRC has in fact helped this kind of music?
Good old Tipper. Tip, babe. This is for you, honey. What do? I mean, I laugh at the grandest case of nepotism I've ever seen in my life. And I really get a kick out of the idea that she could use her power with her husband and with the other Washington housewives, and say even they could cover their kids' ears. Granted, they could do that. What happens when the kids go out on the street, and they realize that life isn't prep school and the charity ball? There's a lot more out there in this world, and so I think it's pretty biased. Tell them to watch Eyewitness News tonight. There's a lot more violence and sex on the news.
I just think that it seems that since they've started their campaign, in fact, the kind of music they deplore is doing better.
Well, maybe to some extent. I think really initially she really went after Prince was the reason that this all started. The little purple guy didn't seem to care too much, and it helped him. So her speaking out against such a silly thing, and she never had proof of it anyhow. And, now look, 2 years later, guys that are running to be the president of the country here is with some girl from Miami Vice, and the guy that says rock and roll's no good is doing his secretary and stealing $90 million. It could go on and on and on and on. Meanwhile, all the rock and roll guys ever wanted to do was entertain a bunch of kids,
Not to mention the Bakers who wanted to, ban a few things themselves?
Yeah, good old Jim and Tammy. All right, Jim, you chump. Where's the $90 million bucks, What's the secretary doing on the desk, So the reality of the matter is that these people are really off base.
You have hated being called a pretty boy. But what about when you're called a sex symbol?
Same thing.
You don't like it?
No, I hate it.
Why?
There's no longevity. You know, I'm a songwriter, and I write songs, and I'm an entertainer. So it's, you know, you wouldn't, there's nothing you can do about being called a pretty boy. You really just try to not pay attention to it, and you don't play it up, you know, and what we do is we go out and we play, and we hope that people are happy when they leave the show, you know, and try to put that across on our records, and we've had to prove ourselves, you know, but I think that it's coming across.
Can you tell me about number 5 Orange?
No. Number 5 Orange. It is a drinking establishment located somewhere in the seedy side of Vancouver. It's also a place where the name Slippery When Wet came from, because there was a shower in this drinking establishment where young ladies seem to dance to rock and roll songs. And they soap themselves up, and, you know, by the end of their set, and make a long story short, that's where the title came from.
I'm assuming they have no clothes on at that time.
No, little to none, you know.
Speaking of clubs, one not quite as sleazy perhaps, or not quite as fun maybe even, you recently got on stage in Jersey with Bruce Springsteen, little club. What was that like?
It was just like the old days again, you know, really. It just happened to be a day where we were off, and we were close enough that we would fly home, so we all went back to New Jersey, and we were at my apartment, myself, Tico, Richie, and a couple of our friends, and they said, well, the E Street Band has gotten together down at the Pony, and I live about, a mile and a half from there. And I says, well, let's go, you know, let's go and make some history, you know, and we all laughed, and we went down there. And Bruce was getting off the stage as I had walked in, and I says, let's go, and he says, no, I'm done, I'm tired. And I says, okay, you're old, and I pushed him away, and he just came back with this, like, you know, and he says, let's go, you know, and we all played together, and it was a lot of fun.
That would do it.
That was great.
Yeah. You had actually gone to jail, hadn't you, for selling posters, bootleg posters to get money?
Yeah, that was about 10 years ago. I didn't, it was 9 years ago now, yeah. I didn't have any money, but was in New York City at Madison Square Garden and wanted to see Bruce Springsteen. And we had gotten tickets, and we had to pay for them. And my girlfriend at the time, her father was a printer and gave us the in-store posters. So we figured we could get $1 or $2 for them, and one cop came up and I said, $2. He says, give me a poster, and I gave him one. He says, you're under arrest, and he took us in, you know, threw us right in the paddy wagon and took us to jail.
Did you have to stay overnight?
No, we even made it back for the show. They knew that, you know, that we weren't, you know, like real bootleggers. We were just 2 kids that wanted to go to a show, and they kept the posters, and I think we paid like a $50 fine. So it was the tickets and the $50, you know, and we all got in trouble.
But at least you got to see the show.
Yeah.
I guess you guys didn't look like hardened criminals.
No.
Is it true there's this myth that when you were a janitor at the power station, he came in and you sang for him and he said to you, get your day job? That's not true? No,
that started in Europe. That started at somewhere on this tour. I heard that. The fact of the matter is that Bruce and anyone else in that band, or, you know, in that whole clique down there, was always very, very, very supportive of myself and the groups that I played in. And Bruce used to come down a lot, and Southside Johnny, and you know, Steve Van Zandt and all those guys. And I'd seen them all through all the years of playing the clubs, you know. No, I was in high school, and, you know, I'd play with those guys, you know. So they had never said that, and were very supportive. And in fact, one time in high school, Bruce called me up, and they recorded one of my songs with Gary U.S. Bonds. Never made it to the record, but, you know, I mean, when you're 17 years old, that was pretty big.
I would say that's amazing. You said that experience of being a janitor, this is a quote anyway, whether you said it or not is another story.
Right.
It was a great experience for teaching me how to treat being a star. Is that true?
Well, I don't know if it was quoted as that, but it's pretty close to that, because one thing that you realize there, because it was such a big recording studio, was the bigger the star, the nicer the person. And in my experiences, I found that I would meet somebody that was, you know, a huge star, and they'd hold the door for you, you know what I mean? And you meet the Rolling Stones, and you're, you know, just a little kid, and you know, they're going, no, no, after you. And you go, oh, wow, you know, you'd expect, you know, get out of my way, punk. But, you know, Stevie Tyler would let me sit in the studio one night, 3, 4 in the morning, and I was the only guy in there and watch him sing. And it's one of your idols, you know, watching Aerosmith working on a record, or Bowie, or the Stones, or Huey Lewis, or there's just so many people in and out of there. And it was the people who were just on the verge of selling a few records. They always had this air to them, you know, that, you know, oh, I've got to have this certain kind of soda in here. Get the hell, you know, this isn't how you know, make records. And so it was really an experience.
Do you feel you're equally as generous when kids meet you?
Oh, I don't know. I hope so. You know,
you must.
I realize that you try to be.
I'm sure you try, at least.
Oh, there's no question.
If you're trying, I think you're doing it. You know, if you're aware of it.
If you're aware of it, right? Maybe I hope so.
You've said, again, you know, I'm quoting things that I've read, so if I'm wrong, you can just say, I never said that. But I've read that you said that you want to be what the kids expect.
Yeah.
What do you think that is?
Well, being a fan myself, I've sat in the 99th row, and every time, swear to God, the singer was looking right at you, you know? And what I try to do is exactly that, and look at the kid in the 99th row, and not be afraid to dive in the audience, or to reach out and touch someone and let them touch you back. And if they come on stage, never let them get pushed off. But, okay, you're here. Now what do you want? You know, you worked hard to get here, now do something, you know? And involve them in that way. Or if there's somebody sitting down, I'll just go over and go, hey, you know, how about it? I'm working up here, you know? And you'll get a smile out of them or something, at least, to say, you know, even if they're bored, you know, or if they're having a good time and they're just trying harder to get your attention, they just did it. You know what I mean? You get that one guy, and you could be sitting there like this, come on, you know, and they'll go, all right, you know, I'll have a good time. And it seems to really come across that, you know, I can try to make the big arena intimate.
That's great. I read also that you said that before Slippery When Wet came out, I think even before you went into the studio, you said, you won't see another album from us until it's our Born to Run or our Pyromania. Did you say that?
Mm-hmm. Fact.
Now, you obviously intended it to be.
We had sold both of them. No, I had no idea. I'm very proud that I was able to say something like that and actually back it up. Sounds like something out of a Rocky movie. But it was that kind of attitude that we went in with, you know. It was, they can't come out, because I didn't want to be the great special guest that you can get on a bill, you know, cheap, that kind of thing. I wanted it to be my show, because I was really tired of being hindered as an opening act and being told, you can't do that, you can't do that. I needed my own show where I can tell the opening act, do whatever you want. You know, I don't care, go.
I talked to Cinderella this morning, and they said, obviously, I mean, you have a great relationship with them.
Oh, yeah.
You signed them, but they said that opening for you is fabulous. What do you do for an opening band that you wish could have been done for you?
Tell them to kick my ass. You know, come and get me. It makes me work harder. Instead of, I used to have guys standing on the side of the stage, you know, like generals in an army, you know, and saying, and then there would go my monitors. They'd pull them off the stage, or I would get 6 inches less every day until I was, you know, out on a road case in the audience. Because it was, you know, if you were dumb enough to leave a ladder hanging from a light post, I'm climbing the ladder. You know, if you're dumb enough to leave that there, I'm going to hurt you with it. I'm going for it. And that was my attitude. Don't ever let me open for you, because I'm going to hurt you. And people hated us. And
they wouldn't let you open.
No. But that's, you know, Cinderella's great, and we bring them out for the encore. And I tried to, again, just from being a fan, I would like to see both bands play together, because they're, you know, they're doing great. They're a big band. And there's no egos. And every night, it's, you know, they ask us what they can do, we ask them what they can do. You know, what can we do to make it better? How can we make the kids happier? And that's the way it is.
I think it's pretty obvious that you really wanted what you've got. You really wanted to be a star.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what a star is. I don't live here. I wouldn't, you know what I mean? I wouldn't stay in this kind of a hotel had it not been across the street from where Doc lives. You know, it just happens that my manager, who's like my best friend, lives across the street. Or I would stay up in LA and goof around for the week because like I could go see my friends and have fun. That kind of an attitude. I don't know what a star does, you know. I don't like that.
You wanted to reach the kids. And
I wanted to be in a rock and roll band.
And you wanted to be the headlining act.
Oh yeah.
Said that.
Yeah.
And you're quoted, and you know, now remember, this is the British press, so could very well not be true. But you were quoted.
You know what the British press is.
As saying you'd sell your mother to make it.
Yeah, I said that.
How much?
$1.50, you can have her. Come and get her. My parents are very, very, very supportive, and they've always been supportive. I think I was just trying to stress a point that if you want anything in this world, be it to be in a rock band or to be the president or whatever, if you want it bad enough, it's so easy to get, you know, but that's the price. If you want it that bad, anything is possible.
What's great about getting it, the best part about getting it?
Playing. If you're healthy, it's the greatest thing in the whole world. If, like, you know, when you can hit the high notes, there's not a higher feeling in the world. You know, there's nothing better than that. To be able to enjoy that, you know, is the greatest part of it.
What's the worst part of it?
Probably the hours in between. You know, I mean, 22 hours of the day, I'm stuck being run around or being tired or you know, state to state or city to city, where it's written on a piece of tape and you don't know where you are. You know, I've many nights had to go look at the tape to see where I was because I don't know, don't have a clue. You know, those kind of things, or not being able to sing, having to go out there and fake it, that's real hard.
How did you feel about when Rolling Stone put you on the cover, that the first page of the article is all about your hair?
Well, I was real happy with that article. She was a nice girl, maybe just a little bit of a girl, you know what I mean, as opposed to looking at it, you know, completely unbiased. But she could have gone a lot further than that, and I'm glad that she didn't, and she was great about it. And I was happy with the rest of the article.
It was a great article.
Yeah, I was very happy, you know, and Rolling Stone, I mean, the last guy they wanted to put on the cover was me, you know.
So then why did that?
The kids, again, you know, they polled X amount of cities and asked us because they wouldn't even write an article on us, you know, and they slagged Slippery to death, hated it, and never even made it their #1 album on their charts, and it was #1 for 9 weeks.
I remember.
So they wouldn't even, you know, never gave us the credit for it. But
they're
it worked.
Very esoteric like that.
Yeah, it's a shame, but that's the way it is, you know. But that's okay.
Oh, okay, I saw you looking. Do you think hair is still important, though, to rock and roll? I mean, that was the sort of lead into that question.
I don't know. I don't think so. Alex's hair is rather short these days. The reason why I really started to grow my hair long was because my father cuts hair for a living. And after he got done smacking you around when you were in trouble, he'd cut your hair, like, to an embarrassing length, you know, and you'd be, like, you know, bald. So as soon as we were old enough to rebel, my brothers or myself, you know, you would grow your hair long and say, check this out there, you know. And he'd just, like, you see his fingers starting to go like this, you know. But he learned to accept it, and now it's fun because it helps his business out now, you know.
Well, you let him do your hair now, don't you?
He's always cut my hair. I mean, if your dad was a plumber, you'd let him do the plumbing. You know, if he sold cars, you'd buy a car from him. Just happens that my dad cuts hair for a living, so yeah, he does cut my hair.
But don't you get a little nervous ever, like, God, Dad, little, you know?
No, he would never do that.
You trust him now?
Oh, yeah.
Your mom was a Playboy bunny?
Yeah.
Did you ever see any pictures from her?
Oh, yeah.
What'd she look like?
She's gorgeous.
Is she a gorgeous woman still?
Oh, yeah.
What does she do now?
She raises my youngest brother, really. She's stopped working, pretty much. She's been in and out of businesses for as long as I've known her. Right now, she's going to just sort of start to kick back and enjoy life because I can afford them that luxury.
That's great. That must feel great.
Yeah, that's fun.